Hello friends, I'm Yvonne Davis. You probably already know that, but just in case you're new to my channel, please click on the red button in the corner and subscribe to my channel. Also, please ring the bell for notifications. I've noticed that YouTube is not pushing out videos the way they used to, so you really need those notifications so you know when you're getting a new video from me. Welcome back, friends. I'm Yvonne Davis, and I'm recording this from Denver, Colorado. This is going to be a video on the Aries Libra full moon, which is March 28th, 2021 at 2:47 p.m. on the East Coast. So let's go ahead and talk about this full moon and what it means. So the first thing you want to notice is that the sun is in Aries at 8 degrees, 18 minutes. And it's conjunct Venus at 8 degrees of Aries, 56 minutes. And this gives it a really favorable, benefic feeling. Venus rules all things beautiful, all the things we desire, that we love, that we're passionate about. It rules money and wealth and beauty and love and relationships. So it's all the things that really matter to our hearts and that make the world beautiful. So it is going to give us a more upbeat feeling at the time of this full moon. However, there may be some things that need to that we need to weave in terms of being grounded in reality. And while I do think that this is a really beautiful full moon, it also depends on how it lands on your chart. So, sometimes if a full moon creates squares in your charts or lands in your chart in some other way that it may be activating something that could be a little bit difficult, just keep that in mind, okay? I have a feeling that this full moon is going to help people if you have had some kind of issue that's been up in the air and you've been waiting for it to be settled or resolved or just some way completed or brought to fruition or culmination or get some kind of answer that you've been waiting for. I think this full moon will bring that. And that's typical of full moons because they are like a pregnant woman who is ready to give birth. And so it's completed its fullness. It's not going to get any more full than this. This is like the ultimate fullness. So that's why it often brings completion of projects. It brings answers with its illumination. It will illuminate answers and information that you may have been waiting for, even if it's just an answer in your own mind. It can help to illuminate those answers in your own mind or bring things up into your conscious mind from your subconscious mind. So that can be extremely helpful if you have been waiting for some kind of answer or some completion or finality, like something that's been in the works or something you've been waiting for. So finally, this full moon will bring those answers and will bring that resolution and that fruition, which can be extremely helpful because it's waiting for something feels like being in limbo. And this full moon will help to resolve that so that you can then move on to the next phase. And so it can also be helpful if you're actually trying to complete projects. So if you need to complete an application, submit an application, anything that is you taking the initiative, often doing that during this phase as the moon is getting fuller is a good thing to do because then you get it's like the planting season. You get the full planting season from new moon to full moon. After the full moon, then the moon starts to wane. Okay, so you can still complete projects even after the full moon, but you don't want to initiate new projects after the full moon. You don't want to initiate projects during the waning phase. So just keep that in mind if you like to use the new moon and full moon phases. So again, I think that this full moon has a really beautiful flavor to it. It may, like I said, for some people, it may actually kind of, just by the way it lands in your chart, may trigger something that has been maybe a little bit of wounding there, because as it turns out, Chiron is mixed in with the sun and Venus. So the conjunction is actually the sun at 8 degrees Aries, Chiron at 8 degrees Aries, and Venus at 8 degrees Aries. And while it can bring up a feeling of wounding around some issue, I still think that being sandwiched between two benefic planets, and the luminary of the sun and the beneficial energies of Venus, is all about healing. Okay, it's actually about bringing something to resolution, which, if you have been paying attention to what's happening in the news, I think this actually fits perfectly with what's been happening in the news, because there have been lots of issues coming up that deal with wounding, that deal with things that are really important to us, and there's that wounding mixed in with it. But I really do think that this full moon is going to bring illumination and some kind of resolution around that woundedness, such that we will be able to move into healing, both on an individual level and on a cultural level. So again, I think this is a really, really beautiful full moon. As you can see, on the East Coast, at least, the part of fortune is conjunct that full moon as well. So that's going to be really helpful. And as you can see, I said it in Washington, D.C. So I think that this full moon is going to really, really help with resolving some issues in Washington. Okay, so the other really interesting thing we see in this full moon chart is the fact that the full moon is making a trine to Saturn in Aquarius, and Aquarius rules humanity. Saturn is the groundedness of, acknowledging the material and physical reality that we live in, acknowledging this time space-bound continuum, linear continuum that we experience when we're incarnated as human beings. Sometimes that can feel kind of harsh, but when it's in a favorable alignment like this trine from the full moon in Libra to Saturn in Aquarius, that is going to be so helpful for bringing about that healing, because of the fact that the trine is a very harmonious energy. So it works really favorably with Saturn to bring resolution and healing. And the kind of resolution and healing it will bring will be long lasting. Okay. So be patient, because it may be the unfolding of a more long-term story, because Saturn is all about time. So when Saturn is involved, that means it will take a long time to resolve an issue, but it also means that once it's resolved, it will actually last. And that's super important. And then the sun and Venus are also making a sextile to Saturn. So both the sextile and the trine are favorable, harmonious aspects. And then you can also see that there is a trine between Saturn and Mars, with Mars conjunct the North Node. And if you think about the Mars issues, Mars is all about, on the shadow side, conflict and violence, and it's conjunct the North Node. So it is bringing up something very karmic and is leading us in the direction of our evolution around these issues of conflict and violence. But as I said, because this full moon is so beautiful, and it's that energy of the sun and Venus are wrapped around Chiron, the wounded healer, I really do believe that this is going to take us in the direction of our evolution, this karmic direction with the North Node, that will help us to heal woundings around conflict and violence. So this is going to happen both on a personal level and on a national cultural, and species level. Okay, obviously it impacts different people at different levels because of the way it lands in the chart. But overall, that is the message of this full moon. So I really can't say enough good things about this full moon. Everything is just lining up so beautifully. And we also have Mercury conjunct Neptune. And so when Mercury is conjunct Neptune, that can really, really help us to touch in with our compassion and finding compassionate solutions to problems that we may have been dealing with that have been causing woundedness, woundedness around conflict and violence. And when I say violence, that can be all different levels. It can be anything from verbal violence, anger, racism, angry, racist, bigoted energies that people put out, judgment and discrimination and such. That's a form of violence. And so it can be anything from just the energies that people are putting out, or their language, or their body language, or expressions, or all the way to, full-blown physical violence. So that it covers the whole gamut when you're talking about Mars. But Mars also means being able to take action. And so, the shadow side is the conflict and violence, but the light side, the golden side of Mars, is the ability to take action, to be motivated to take action. That's the warrior who wants to step out into the world and take action because they feel motivated. So they feel driven. And when it's conjunct the North Node, it's definitely karmic, and it's taking us in the direction of our evolution. And it's making such a beautiful trine to the full moon. So you can see that the full moon in Libra, which is all about relationships and balance. And Libra is ruled by Venus, which is conjunct the sun and wrapped around that Chiron. So the full moon in Libra is trining both the Mars North Node conjunction in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. So we're getting also that activation, that motivation for taking action in the Gemini realm, which is ruled by Mercury, which, as I said, is now in Pisces conjunct Neptune. So there is a desire to communicate ideas based in compassion, okay? Possibly even passing legislation that is based in compassion, okay? And because the full moon in Libra is trining Saturn as well in Aquarius, the sign of humanity, that means that whatever gets done, whatever Mars is motivated to do to take us in the direction of our evolution, to help heal that Chiron wounding, this is something that may take some time because, as I said, Saturn takes time, but it will definitely last. So think about how this might impact you on a personal level, and also think about how it's impacting all of us at a national and species level, okay? So again, I just think this is such an incredibly beautiful full moon. So I hope that you will enjoy this full moon. Remember, all full moons usually have a window of 10 days, meaning it can happen as we're leading up to the full moon, as much as 5 days leading up to the full moon, and then 5 days after the full moon because of that bell curve. So please do enjoy this full moon, and thank you for stopping in to my channel and watching this video. I appreciate it so much. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, or if you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe to my channel, and also ring the bell for notifications so you get notified of all my new videos. If you'd like a reading, there's always a link in the description box below. And if you are interested in one-on-one FaceTime on Zoom, please come over to my Patreon channel. There's a link below, and you can join Patreon, and you can join the group Zoom meetings that we have almost every Friday at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time. And you get all your questions answered there. So thank you again for joining me, And I look forward to seeing you again. Please leave your comments below and share with me what new things are happening in your life that's taking you in the direction of your future and your evolution. All right, I look forward to reading that, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.